following program was sponsored by The Circle. Everything is copywritten, so please no duplication or reenactments of their lyrical capacity. Results will end up in termination of your life or court proceedings. Thank you.
I got you.
Girl, you change,
why you gotta change on a nigga? Bitch sent the cops to my crib. She had the nerve to tell the bitch why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could get. That's why I won't forget. Why you gotta change on a nigga? The bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could give. That's why I won't forget.
Ain't no love left. Don't want a bad mouth, all I wish is success. I don't sleep, I don't eat, nothing but stress. And y'all can all beat now, cause I don't want sex. I'm about to smash your sister, cause she a little more calmer and the ass is bigger. For every chicken head, yup, there's a nasty nigga. How you gon' pay me back? Shit, fucking nasty niggas. Shorty changed like 225, switched up, got me losing my mind. Call the cops, tried to ruin my grind. Damn, what's wrong with you? I just want my half, I'm ready for the war with you. That's my daughter too, blood, sweat, tears, whole mix, a little water too. Watch it bubble up. I told my daughter she the reason I beat her uncle up. I told them knuckle up. Worry about your own motherfucker, then I touched them up. What the fuck is up?
Change on a nigga. Bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could get. That's why I won't forget. Why you gotta change on a nigga? The bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could give. That's why I won't forget. Bitch acting crazy like that.
Imagine anything, because you're not even on a caliber to date a single mother. You
ever hear a guy saying like, oh, you have a child, or oh, I don't want nothing to do with that. They probably don't have the means to take care of your child because they're broke bonds, and we don't want those men anyway. The real true high value men are going to be seeking or not avoiding someone because they're a mother.
You need to have a man pay for the babysitter if he wants to take you out.
Ladies, set the standard high. Set the standard high, especially since you're a mom, because it's not just about you anymore. It's about you and your kids.
I find it really stupid when I see men trying to make it a point that single mother standards are way too high. But wouldn't you think that a good mother or a good woman, period, would want the best for her children and want the best around her children? So you best believe that my standards are going to be through the roof. At this point, my standards are so high, I think I'm looking for Jesus Christ himself.
I say something to you? Listen to me. Hey, listen to me. Hey, shut the fuck up. Who taught you how to be this stupid? Were you fucking born this way? You're fucking kidding me.
She was born this way. Salute, guys. Welcome to class. We back. Salute. And we is back, and we got a good one, guys. We got an important one tonight, guys. A very important one. This is how single mothers will ruin the Black community within the next few years, guys. So sit back, relax. We're going to go over how if these women continue to take this mindset right here, you know, this the mindset where ain't no good man, right? Ain't no good men out there, but these women stay pregnant. These women stay pregnant, and then they got the nerve to talk about the person they get pregnant by. You know what I mean? The dude be all type of dusty, all type of crackheadish. If we continue to procreate with these type of women, guys, we are going to destroy ourselves. That is our downfall, and I'm going to prove that today. So y'all stick around, because we have that experiment, the McCollum experiment, guys, and it shows us that if we keep reproducing and not parenting what we reproduce and not moving and not generating more resources for what we use up, it's going to be a problem, guys. And this is what happens when you place irresponsible females in an enclosed environment, sort of like the projects, sort of like the Black community, where it's overpopulated. It's not enough resources. So you got people stealing, shooting and booting, prostituting, because we have reproduced more than we have produced resources for what we have reproduced. So this is not a diss song. This is not a bash song. This is a factual classic, guys. Let's get straight on into the content, man. Cause y'all think I be lying all of the time. Let's prove how the community will end up if we don't, as fellas, guys. Y'all see the theme tonight. Guys, just F single mothers. Do not date them. Don't play let's pretend with them. They be out here looking for sex on days like this. You know what I mean? They want a good man Monday through Thursday, but on Friday, they busting it open for the dude that look like he bout something. So smash with a rubber and go. Recreational use only, guys. All right? Because if we continue to play Let's Pretend, then they continue to trap us into procreating with them and reproducing with them. That's the death of us. Let's go, guys. Let's talk about it. Grab your popcorn, grab your seat, grab your beer, your wine. I got my Henny. You know what I mean? Let's do it.
Of the strange research to come out of mid-1900s America, there is little with a legacy as enduring or as terrifying as the mouse utopia experiments. Taking place throughout the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, the grim fate of the subjects was published in the national magazine Scientific American, and the experiments themselves were largely taken as apocalyptic portents. In a post-war United States, the language used to describe the results, such as behavior sync, became synonymous with fears of an overpopulated world and violent, deviant behavior in cities. Today, they are preserved within fiction, such as Channel 4's conspiracy thriller Utopia and the classic animated movie The Secret of Nim.
Our world began changing.
Keep in mind, guys, these experiments also stem the Planned Parenthood epidemic. You know what I mean? Because y'all know that the amount of black babies that are murdered, because that's murder, is astronomical, guys, astronomical. But this is where they got that. Margaret Sanger, she got that idea for Planned Parenthood, scaring the people as if overpopulation was really a problem. Overpopulation is not the problem. The problem is when you have people just sucking up the resources and not producing. When you assign programs like governmental program assistant programs where you give out resources to people that are not producing. That's the problem. Overpopulation never been a problem because the more people you have, the more workers you have. So the shit should be booming, right?
So what were the mouse utopia experiments? Shortly after World War II, a group known collectively as the environmentalists were making a large push to prevent environmental degradation, as well as overexploitation of the planet's renewable resources. Among these people were a group specifically known as the Neo-Malthusians, a term referring to the 18th and 19th century English scholar Thomas Robert Malthus. Malthus proposed that while the world's population may increase exponentially, food production can only increase linearly, leading to an eventual subsistence-level existence for the human race that became known as a Malthusian catastrophe. While advancements such as the Green Revolution saw that this didn't come about, the Neo-Malthusians acknowledged his concerns about overpopulation and feared that this pattern would result in the collapse of civilization or, at best, have extreme adverse effects. These fears were given a platform in writing of the time, especially in works such as William Folk's Road to Survival in 1948, and perhaps most famously, Silent Spring by Rachel Carson in 1962. Before the movement's explosion of popularity in the 50s and 60s, however, researchers had already begun work investigating the effects of population growth, and among them was a man named John B. Calhoun. Born in 1917, Calhoun took an early interest in science, specifically ornithology, publishing his first paper on birds when he was 15, but over time, his interest would change. By the time he received his PhD, his focus had turned to ethology, the study of animal behavior. When his education was concluded, he moved with his family to Towson, Maryland, to begin research at Johns Hopkins University in nearby Baltimore, but the research itself would be conducted much closer to home. In 1947, shortly after he arrived, he approached his neighbor about using some of their neglected property for an experiment. The scope would be massive, and according to Calhoun, his neighbor probably didn't expect such a scale when they agreed to let him use the forested area. Taking over a quarter of an acre, Calhoun constructed a massive habitat, complete with food, water, ample shelter, and protection from predators, with the only limiting condition being their restriction to the quarter-acre living space.
And that's exactly, guys, how the inner city is set up. Think about it. You got your food, water, you got the police, that's exactly how the inner cities are set up and designed. And keep in mind, he used mice because mice brain and human brain are very similar. The only difference is, see, we can see a problem and fix it. We got chemicals, we got stronger chemicals in our brain that allow us to fix a problem. You know what I mean? See, mice, they go off of what they designed. They go off of a pattern that they adapted when they were from birth. And they just instinctive. They go off their instinct. See, we have the ability as humans to challenge that instinctiveness. Like we can be doing something and then automatically pivot if we know that what we're doing is not working. See, mice don't have that. So that this is what makes this experiment even more dangerous when you relate it to inner city, poverty, the black community, guys. Pay attention. We teaching today.
Affectionately provided his enclosure a name, Rat City. Unfortunately, no publicly available images of Rat City exist. Calhoun was very familiar with Norway rats, having performed research on them for his doctorate, and he estimated that Rat City could sustain approximately 5,000 individuals, though if they reached this number, the population density would be tight. He began by placing 5 pregnant females in the enclosure, providing ample genetic diversity and
All right. This is why the title is the title, because it's going to start and finish with these females. No matter how you want to cut it. I know you want to blame men for everything, but no, ma'am. Your responsibility is that community, and it starts with you and it ends with you. So, like we said, he started with 4 pregnant women, meaning that they don't got the fathers is nowhere in the picture. And we see that they take this single mother shit as if it's a crown that it's some shit to wear in this community. And we know that it's not. They produce the worst product in America. But let's proceed so y'all can see how it was all designed. Now that we know it's designed, we gonna keep walking into the design. Y'all be a fool to keep walking into the design.
soon the population was increasing exponentially. But then something surprising happened. Rather than the population increasing to fill the space of the enclosure, it quickly leveled off at 150 members. He also noted some behavioral peculiarities. Despite the large size of Rat City, the residents seemed to gather around just a few places, forming social groups of 12 and limiting themselves to specific feeding locations. He would conclude the experiment after 2 years and 4 months, during which the population never grew over 200. Careful observation revealed the cause: high infant mortality. For some reason, as the experiment progressed and the population increased, the mothers were not caring for their young properly, leading to most of them dying before reaching maturity.
Oh man, we see that in our community, guys. Don't we see that in our community? Don't lie. Go to them clinics. Go to them clinics. Look at the numbers, yo. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, guys. Now, I mean, this is down. This is even in our basic instructions. It'll tell you that. You know what I mean? In Isaiah, guys, in our basic instructions, it tell you, can a woman forget her nursing child, that she should have no compassion on the son of her womb? Even these may forget, yet I will not forget you, guys. Stop being scared to know God, bro. Y'all niggas want to know everybody else, but y'all be scared to know God. You know what I mean? Y'all know God, but y'all don't want the next person to know that y'all know God. It's kind of like how y'all running around here moving fake and shit. Y'all niggas be wanting the truth. A lot of y'all be wanting the truth. Y'all just don't want the people that y'all want acceptance from to know y'all want the truth because they don't want the truth. Keep being dumb, bro. Keep being dumb. But again, let's get back to the experiment and see why this single mother shit gonna be the death of the community. So I need my fellas with some sense to stop procreating with them. Stop fucking these bitches without a condom, bro. Please. Please do not let them hijack your semen, bro. They just want your semen.
Calhoun had his theories as to why this was, but to prove them, he would need more data. In 1954, about 5 years after his initial experiment concluded, he was hired by the National Institute of Mental Health, often shortened to NIM. Within the laboratory of psychology, Calhoun was given ample resources to continue his work. With a team, he began feverishly designing and constructing habitats, sometimes referred to as universes, where he performed numerous smaller scale and more controlled versions of his original rat study on a domesticated strain of albino Norway rat. These rats would want for nothing. All physical needs for a healthy rat lifestyle would be provided for them, including food, water, climate control, and nesting material. Calhoun spent 8 years perfecting his enclosures and methods until finally, in February of 1962, an article of his writing was published in the magazine Scientific American.
That's just how they do them people in the projects. That's just how they do them people. Everything provided for them. Everything provided for them. Think about peep game. Everything provided for them.
The article was entitled Population Density and Social Pathology. His opening paragraph ominously reads so, quote, "In the celebrated thesis of Thomas Malthus, vice and misery impose the ultimate natural limit on the growth of populations."
You hear it? Vice and misery. And that's what we got right now. That's what we got. Remember, when the reality don't match the expectation, people go into a deep state of rest, depression. That's all that's around here. That's why you think they love the drama. Why you think they addicted to the toxic shit. This stream ain't finna get no numbers. This that real shit. Let me been dissing somebody. Let me been talking about somebody. Shit, this should be off the hook. Guys, this is what it is. Vices, you heard it. Vices, everybody addicted to something. Whether it be weed, alcohol, sex. You know what I mean? It's just vices. Vices is running it. That's why nobody getting out of poverty, because the vice is tying people, is a chain that ties people to slavery and poverty. It's nasty work out here, bro.
Students of the subject have given most of their attention to misery, that is, to predation, disease, and food supply as forces that operate to adjust the size of a population to its environment. But what of vice? Setting aside the moral burden of this word, what are the effects of the social behavior of a species on population growth, and of population density on social behavior? Unquote. To answer this question, he cited 6 of his experiments in particular, all with similar composition and concerningly similar results. The design of these habitats was simple. The layout was a rectangle measuring 10 feet by 14 feet, divided into 4 equal sections by electric fences. 3 of these fences sported bridges over which the rats could climb, while one fence lacked such a bridge, essentially creating one long space that wrapped in on itself. Each section was equipped similarly, with a food hopper, water, and nesting areas accessible by spiral staircases. But Calhoun, leveraging his experience with the rats, made special changes to encourage specific behaviors. He enticed the rats to use one of the center pens by making the spiral staircase to that pen's living space.
Exactly, bro. It's all manipulation, my guys. This is why they got a corner store. They got the liquor store there. You know what I mean? They got a position right there in the trap. So when you talk about in the trap, remember the next time you talk about you trapping or you in the trap, think about this video right here. Please like, share. We need this content to get out.
Spaces shorter than the others, though he admits this was a comparatively small factor. But the more insidious change was to their food supply. In half of the experiments, Calhoun supplied powdered food, but in the other half, he placed feeders of his own design, consisting of hard pellets behind a wire mesh. Half of his experiments began with 32 mice, the other half with 56, of evenly male and female composition, and all having just reached maturity. Calhoun estimated that approximately 40 rats could comfortably be housed in these enclosures, but he would allow these populations to increase to 80 before he would cull them. Almost immediately after introduction, things began to go awry. The females, unsurprisingly, spread themselves out somewhat evenly through the pens, but after the males jockeyed for dominance and those of highest rank were determined, they began to distribute themselves strangely. Less dominant male rats will typically awaken earlier and begin to wander and forage for food, and due to the design of the pen,
There will always be hierarchy, guys. Remember that. No matter how bad you wanna duck it or say no, it's not. You know how the women, they don't like their titles. You know, they do hoe shit and we call them hoes, but they don't accept their title. Guys, it's always a hierarchy. There's alpha males and then there's beta males, guys. You know what I mean? However you want to cut it. However you want to cut it. You know what I mean? These are the beta males. It's going to be a hierarchy, guys. I know you don't like to hear it, but you don't have to remain beta. You don't have to remain a beta male.
this meant that they usually would end up in the center sections to eat. During this time, the dominant males of the outer pens would wake up and begin guarding their respective territories. Since there was only one entrance ramp to either end, the dominant males of either pen would bar the return of the less dominant males, forcing the male population to clump in the center pens, while the dominant end males protected what came to be their harems. Only a few other deferential males were allowed to remain. These few remaining males began exhibiting odd behavior. Though they would spend most of their time in the burrows with the females, hiding away from the dominant male, they would never attempt to mate with any of them. Instead, perplexingly, they would try to mate with the dominant male, and even more perplexing, the dominant male would not fight these attempts.
Nah, I be goddamn. Diddy did it. Diddy did it. Diddy did it, bro. We blaming everything on Diddy. All that mook shit is on Diddy. But again, y'all see how those ones that stayed in the nest with the moms, they just turned mook. They turned mook. They start mating with the dominant males. And the dominant males, which must be the pookies, you know what I mean? Those must be the wild ones out there. They just a mate with anything. Ain't that some shit? We see that right now. Pookie a mate with anything. Pookie walk around here with a trans gentleman on his shoulder, on his arm. Nasty.
At the same time as this was happening, the effect of Calhoun's special feeders was taking hold. Since procuring food was such a lengthy process at the hard food feeders, it was common for one rat to join another while in the process of feeding. By this method, the rats slowly became conditioned to eating in the company of other rats until, eventually, the rats would refuse to eat unless another rat was present. Since more rats tended to be in the center pens, this behavior meant that, over time, more and more rats made their way there, further condensing them. This heightened the proximity of an already cramped population. In the experiments with the powdered food,
just like your average hood rats, scared to get the fuck out the hood, scared to go, scared to expand. You know what I mean? Uproot they seed from that soil that is nasty. It ain't been growing, they ain't grow, they ain't even sprout. But they be so scared they just cling to that. And everybody just keep fucking the same niggas. You know what I mean? Nasty.
this effect was far less pronounced. With these factors combined, Calhoun noted what he called a behavioral sink, or an increase in pathological activity in the rats due to the stress involved in such high population density. For the females, the behavioral sink manifested in reduced capacity for nest building and young rearing. Infant rats are extremely dependent upon their mothers for nearly all things. However, under the effects of the behavioral sink, the mothers would often be interrupted in their nest building practices to engage in some other social activity. As time wore on, this led to sparser nests which could not house the young properly. If a mother decided to move her litter, she often would only move some of them or scatter them about the pen in separate locations. What's more, when
And that's the problem right there. Ladies, when y'all continue to lie on your back and talk about ain't no good niggas out here, but y'all keep getting pregnant, Yeah. Every child you have the resources from the last child, right? And every child need access to all of you. You know what I mean? And when you have 2 and 3 and 4, you gotta split you. You know what I mean? To where them kids start to get pieces of you. You know, don't go blaming the dad because at the end of the day, you supposed to be with the kid while the dad is out working, right? If you choose the right man to have these 3 and 4, 5, 6 kids with, then that dude will be out working, busting his ass to give you the money to provide for them kids, right? So you don't go blaming the dad. You got those kids, right? And you gotta stop, yo, guys, please, please stop, guys, please. Y'all know the retarded ones too, man. Guys, y'all know them, man. Look, there's no one size shoe fit all, but that's all of them right there, bro. That's all of them, bro. Match the color, bro. See the bitch, match the color, bro, and run, bro. Wrap up, strap up. Please stop. Please stop dropping that in these bitches, man. The retarded ones, bro. It's gonna fuck us all up. You know what I mean? It's gonna fuck us all up.
Female rats are ready to mate, the males can sense it, and the enclosed space meant that a female could not escape the continuous advances of the males during these periods. Even when they would enter their nests for a reprieve, they would be followed in and harrowed. These factors together resulted in an extremely high infant mortality rate. In one case,
Yeah, and you're not gonna say how when you give people all of this luxury, right? When you give them all the resources and you don't summons them to work to produce more resources, this is what's gonna happen. Niggas is gonna start humping. The brokest people, the people that are so laid up on this government shit, they be the ones fucking all of the time because they got the time to fuck. And that's exactly what be going on in them projects. I be wondering how the fuck you in the projects, but y'all be pumping out all them babies like that. Like, you know why you in the projects? You in the projects because you need assistance in life going for like how the fuck is you fucking having babies? Like they be having the best baby showers and all that shit. Like how?
is reaching 96%. For the males, this manifested in different ways. The dominant males would occasionally lash out in violence against the other members of the pen, including infants, often biting and wounding their tails. Among the lower class males were 3 groups. The first he described as the homosexuals, which he immediately corrects as pansexuals, who would not compete for status but would often attempt to mate with any other rat, regardless of gender or age. Much like in the end pens, these advances went unchallenged. The second group he described as somnambulists, who moved slowly through the pen without interacting with other.
Now wait a minute. Now you could say that these Gen Zers, they kind of weird like that now, right? That's the generation that we in right now, that first joint right there. You know what I mean? Like, cause they weird like that, right? They don't give a fuck. They don't discriminate. And them motherfuckers is clean as a whistle. Like, you know what I mean? Them niggas don't go outside, I guess. Those the motherfuckers that stay set up. Like they just in the computer. This shit real deep right here, guys. Real deep.
Other individuals in any fashion, and the other rats in turn ignored them except in rare circumstances. These rats externally he described as fat, sleek, and healthy looking. But to him, the strangest group was the third, which he named the probers. These rats were hyperactive, hypersexual, and pansexual. Despite violence from the dominant males, they would viciously pursue females in heat, eschewing any.
Look at this nigga. That look just like Pookie right there, yo. That look just like Pookie, bro. You know his mother left him somewhere. The dad was never in the enclosure. Look at this nigga. This be just like these niggas, yo. With the little the sexual deviant niggas, yo. Some of you passport niggas, y'all be having this. That's how y'all look. This how y'all be looking in the picture, yo, with the bitch and shit. Y'all be like, y'all got to cut that shit out, bro. God don't like that shit, bro.
Sort of courtship ritual and following them into their burrows to mate. Later on in the experiments, they would often find the corpses of the improperly cared for young, which they would cannibalize. In time, one of Calhoun's assistants would publicly describe these pens as hell. At this point, Calhoun ended the experiments, but he predicted that these pathological changes would have eventually led to the deaths of the colonies. At their conclusion, he would take the 4 healthiest males and females and allow them to breed, but their behavior had been so inexorably altered that none of their pups survived beyond weaning.
All wetlock dumb babies. All wetlock dumb babies. Look, that's what we got.
This short article enraptured its US audience, and the effects on both the scientific world and popular culture were immediate. People began to relate Calhoun's rat experiments to modern city life, and in an era where fear of social deviance was reaching an extreme high, it was largely seen as a reflection of the current time and where society could be heading, egged on by Calhoun's provocative language and allegorical design of his test environment, made to look like a city. Population density quickly became a common topic. Psychologist Carl Rogers, in his work Some Social Issues Which Concern Me, stated that, quote, "The resemblance to human behavior is frightening. In humans, we see poor family relationships, the lack of caring, the complete alienation, the magnetic attraction of overcrowding, the lack of involvement, which is so great that it permits people to watch a long, drawn-out murder without so much as calling the police. Perhaps all city dwellers are inhabitants of a behavioral sink." Unquote. Soon after, studies of dense urban environments were conducted to see if these effects translated directly to humans, but what they found was inconclusive and unsatisfying. Despite the suggestions of Calhoun's rats, humans in cities reacted differently or sometimes opposite the manner that researchers expected, depending on the location. No matter how they tried, no evidence of a widespread behavioral sink could be found in urban areas. But this did not dissuade Calhoun. Even as others explored the problem of overcrowding, Calhoun frantically continued his research. Now a celebrated success and emboldened by the public acceptance of his ideas, he resumed his work at NIM on an even larger scale, though again away from the...
Yeah, there's about to blacklist you, boy. There's about to blacklist you because all them other experiments that they are talking about was that Margaret Singer shit. They was trying to push this overpopulation bullshit. But you had the reason why. Cause you and see they didn't want you to reveal that because they was structuring them projects and they was housing my peoples in them enclosures to do just that. They know they wanted to separate the family. They know what happened when they separate the family and leave our sisters by themselves, or any woman by herself for that matter, because female nature is universal. Ain't no color on female nature. And all these bitches they are not designed for long periods of hardship. And that's female nature. Woman 101, guys. Your daddy should have taught you that. You know what I mean? But if you didn't know, now you know. They're not designed. And that's for the babies. Like, remember, they harbor our babies. They hold the babies. So think about the animals in the animal kingdom, right? What lion that's gonna sit there during a hard time? If that lion get wounded, that male lion get wounded, she out of there, bro. She going to find another prey, yo. Like, they're not designed for long periods of hardship. That's all of them, bro. This is why they be monkey branching and riding the CC and all of that.
The public eye. He spent his time on new subjects as he continued to perfect his enclosures and experiments until finally, after 11 years, Calhoun revealed his magnum opus through an article he entitled Death Squared, which was published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society of Medicine in January of 1973. The lengthy opening to this article was undeniably apocalyptic.
Yo, they finna kill this man right here, bro. This man finna get killed, bro.
Calhoun wrote, "I shall largely speak of mice, but my thoughts are on man, on healing, on life and its evolution. Threatening life and evolution are the two deaths, death of the spirit and death of the body. Evolution, in terms of ancient wisdom, is the acquisition of access to the tree of life." Unquote. He goes on to heavily reference revelations and of the riders of the apocalypse, using them to proclaim that the Hippocratic Oath applies not only to the body, but to the spirit. After this dramatic introduction, he described his test. For the most part, these new experiments were similar to his 1963 trials, including unlimited access to food and water, protection from the elements and predators, and safeguards against disease. Many parts, however, were drastically altered. As Calhoun mentions in his introduction, the Norway rats used in his first publicized experiments were replaced with albino house mice, which were taken from a breeding group from the National Institutes of Health made specifically to prevent communicable disease. To fit his new subjects, Calhoun had designed an entirely new enclosure. This version was much more vertical, with 16.
Now, mind y'all, the results of this happen with with the minusing the disease. We have disease in our population, like so it just makes it 10 times more likely for this to go down with humans, bro. If we keep sticking pee in these dumb chicks, bro, that think that they don't need a man. The chicks that had one Barbie doll, bro. I done told y'all about them chicks that had one Barbie doll. They whole life, bro. No kin, bro. No kin. They might have had the house, but they didn't have kin. Them chicks is ready to go. They soul survivors, bro. They will do it by themselves. They have done it. They played that. Man, listen, they had that kitchen set with one dish, one teacup. They ready to do it on their own, bro. Stop putting raw PP in them women, bro.
Wall-mounted housing areas for the rats at the tops of long metal tubes, which Calhoun called walk-up apartments. At the bottom of each apartment was a virtually unlimited supply of food, water, and nesting material. With the space provided, Calhoun estimated that it could potentially hold 3,840 mice. He named this enclosure Universe 25. Calhoun's methods also had changed. Rather than instituting population controls, he would interfere far less. His plan was to place 8 mice in the enclosure, 4 male and 4 female, and simply watch and wait. Calhoun observed 4 distinct phases in the ensuing experiment. Phase A was predictable, constituting the time period before the first new mice were born, which ended up being 104 days. For the mice, these days were, quote, marked by considerable social turmoil. After the social order was established and the first brood was born, the population began Phase B, which Calhoun named the exploitation phase. During this time, the mice doubled in number every 55 days as new young grew to maturity and had their own young. This doubling continued until day 315, after which the doubling rate slowed to a rate of 145 days, nearly 3 times as long. By this point, the different broods had clumped into one side of the pen, exhibiting the same sort of clumping as the Norway rats, but this time without any coaxing from Calhoun's designs. This change in the rate of procreation marked Phase C, which Calhoun labeled as the stagnation phase. This is when the most notable events occurred, and they eerily mirrored Calhoun's rat experiments. In a natural setting, those mice which find no social niche will leave the colony, but in this experiment, emigration was impossible, and so those forced to remain withdrew from society. These dejected males formed a large pool in the center of the enclosure. They quickly became characterized by both their inactivity and their many scars and wounds. Occasionally, they would grow agitated and attack one another, and with nowhere to retreat, the recipient of these attacks would simply lay still and endure the assault. The outcast females, rather than joining them, would retreat to the highest apartments and live quietly among one another. It was during this time that the behavioral sink manifested, with mice gathering around specific food hoppers in large numbers, while others remained almost entirely untouched, showing how, again, the need for social interaction had become so intertwined with the need for food that the former had overtaken the latter. The males who had won the initial fights also were placed under extreme stress. As more and more mice reached maturity from within and without, the leaders of the social groups continually had to patrol and defend their territory. Eventually, they reached the point of exhaustion and could not defend the females within their group. These females were therefore forced to defend the nest themselves, even when nursing their young, leading to generalized aggressive behavior.
And there go that single mother shit right there. Once the fathers is gone, by hook or by crook, and the ball is in y'all possession, ladies. Y'all got to fix that. Y'all got to fix that. Y'all got to stop competing with them and start teaching them. You know what I mean? You can't compete and teach at the same time. You got to pick a battle. You know what I mean? And if you don't raise your children, you can't spoil your grandchildren.
This aggression would inevitably be misdirected onto their young, who would be wounded by their mothers and forced to leave the nest before they were finished weaning. Much like the rats, the mother mice would also forget some of their young when moving from one nesting site to another. Due to the added stress of defending their territory, sometimes the mothers would reabsorb unborn mice in the womb, further reducing the fertility rates. Calhoun writes, "For all practical purposes, there had been a death of societal organization by the end of Phase C. Finally, there was Phase D, which Calhoun entitled the Death Phase. This phase was characterized largely by an entire generation of young who had been rejected by their mothers early and forced to leave the nest, and they were therefore unable to exhibit normal social behavior. This manifested in numerous ways. The females of this generation had far fewer children, and those that did have children lacked the maternal instincts necessary to raise them beyond weaning."
Now, if that's not today, March 29th, 2024, guys, we see it. Open your eyes. We see this right now. We see it. These little niggas running around out here, uneducated slaves, bro. Slavery is alive. So weak, so fragile, quick to hit, quick to shoot, always in their feelings.
Calhoun goes on to describe the males of this generation. Quote, "Male counterparts to these non-reproducing females were soon dubbed the beautiful ones. They never engaged in sexual approaches toward females, and they never engaged in fighting, and so they had no wound or scar tissue."
Yo, I done told how many boys today. I done told so many of my people that I tutor, bro, just go outside. Go the fuck outside. It's so many Gen Zers that's stuck in the house, just on their computer. No experience, like no wounds, no scar wounds. Niggas prettier than the motherfucker. Prettier than the mother. Guys, no, I didn't tell. Go outside, bro. It's getting nice. Go outside. Go outside. The hose is defrosting. You know what I mean? Come on, go outside. Yo, this shit is crazy. I gotta play that back. Play that back. That's crazy.
Characterized largely by an entire generation of young who had been rejected by their mothers early and forced to leave the nest, and they were therefore unable to exhibit normal social behavior. This manifested in numerous ways. The females of this generation had far fewer children, and those that did have children lacked the maternal instincts necessary to raise them beyond weaning. Calhoun goes on to describe the males of this generation. Quote, "Male counterparts to these non-reproducing females were soon dubbed the beautiful ones. They never engaged in sexual approaches toward females, and they never engaged in fighting, and so they had no wound or scar tissue. Thus, their pelage remained in excellent condition. Their behavioral repertoire became largely confined to eating, drinking, sleeping, and grooming, none of which carried any social implications beyond that represented by contiguity of bodies." Unquote. As the last mice with reproductive instincts aged beyond their fertility, Calhoun declared that the last male would die around day 1780 of the experiment, effectively rendering the colony dead as it would be unable to produce any more young. His present tense language implied that, when the article was published, the colony was still technically alive, though its final fate was practically sealed. Calhoun closed his article with a call to action. "For an animal so complex as man, there is no logical reason why a comparable sequence of events should not also lead to species extinction. If opportunities for role fulfillment fall far short of the demand by those capable of filling roles and having expectancies to do so, only violence and disruption of social organization can follow. Individuals born under these circumstances will be so out of touch with reality as to be incapable even of alienation. Their most complex..."
God damn it, yo. Sisters, yo, we gonna need y'all to be responsible for your coochie now. We gonna need y'all to set the standard, and it start with y'all coochie now. Start with your coochie. We gonna understand.
Have a woman to woman mother moment with you. At the end of the day, women have the choice. I don't care if you were after him, he was after you. It doesn't matter. He can't come in unless you open the door, right?
Wide open.
All right, sisters. So we gonna need a little less of this.
You hitting from the back, beating my shit in. I asked you why I feel like that. You said feel like what? I tell you meat to meat. You said you took the rubber off. So I'm throwing it back even harder. You tell me you got the nut, so I'm throwing it back even harder. You got the one hand on the neck, one thumb in ass, hitting my shit, beating it the fuck in. Now you nut. You leave the money on the dresser for a plan B. 2 days later, you calling my phone asking me, did I take what? I left the money on the dresser for the plan what?
That's gonna be the death of us. That's gonna be the death of us, guys. Stop dropping nut in these women. Fuck that plan B shit. Fuck all that. Cause you see it. They don't give a fuck, bro. They don't give a fuck.
Complex behaviors will become fragmented. Acquisition, creation, and utilization of ideas appropriate for life in a post-industrial, cultural, conceptual, technological society will have been blocked. Just as biological generativity in the mouse involves this species' most complex behaviors, so does ideational generativity for man. Loss of these respective complex behaviors means death of the species. But even as Calhoun was performing his research on mice, others had been at work applying his theories to humans. By this point, researchers had moved to more specific locations of overcrowding rather than the generalized location of cities, testing the effects on students in dormitories and patients at hospitals, but the most fruitful example they discovered was in prisons. Paul Paulus from the University of Texas wrote that prisons were the perfect place for this sort of study, describing the social interaction between inmates as intense, prolonged, inescapable, and realistic. The prison in the study also offered the closest analog to Calhoun's rat experiments, since the prisoners could not escape the company of others, even in their communal cells. There, they found connections between over-socialization and suicide, violence, psychopathy, and stress. After such studies, environmental psychologists began to discover the problem. They identified two different kinds of density: physical density and social density. Physical density was the amount of space per person, while social density was the number of individuals occupying a space. They found that social density was the much more important factor, as individuals in high social density were unable to control their interactions with others. Based on this research, human environments could be designed to at least partially mitigate these issues, allowing those living within them the privacy they needed to maintain healthy social interaction. Outside of scientific discourse, Calhoun's rhetoric has maintained its strength through the years, with different groups of all political persuasions bending his results to support their views on social degradation, however they may define it. Among more scholarly sources, Calhoun has been both lauded and criticized for his work. Those who support him cite his forward thinking about overpopulation, while those who deride him cite his misrepresentation of the actual social problems within cities, guiding discourse away from the true causes of societal discord.
When you get that much pushback, you on to something, bro. Don't pay no mind to him, son.
But no matter what those in the modern day think of his research, his influence on the way America views its cities is undeniable.
And that's a whole fact, y'all. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. Know what I mean? It's been real. We did some education today, yo. You know, we ha ha he he, but we also get it in and we bring the facts. We bring the truth with proof, guys. And again, guys, I'ma repeat it. You know, it get repetitive, yo. Please, yo. Please. I'm about to make a song for y'all, bro. Please stop putting raw PP in these women, bro. Especially a single mother. You know, you should know better than to do that already, bro. You shouldn't really be messing with them. They gotta go see God. You know what I mean? But like I said, Friday and Saturday, they do be out hunting for raw PP. Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them, guys, all right? Y'all wrap up, strap up, drink responsibly. I'm going to exit out with a request. A lot of y'all been requesting some of my music, some of my Red Pill music. So I'll probably Be working on a Red Pill mixtape soon. But see y'all. Y'all wrap up, strap up, drink responsibly, y'all. Hit that like button. The 3 dots on the top, it'll take you right to the like button, y'all. Hit that like button, man. Pay your school tuition.
Program was sponsored by The Circle. Everything is copywritten, so please no duplication or reenactments of their lyrical capacity. Results will end up in termination of your life or court proceedings. Thank you.
I got you. Yeah, right.
Girl, you change.
Why you gotta change on a nigga? Bitch sent the cops to my crib. She had the nerve to tell the bitch why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could get. That's why I won't forget. Why you gotta change on a nigga? The bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could give. That's why I won't forget.
Ain't no love left. Don't want a bad mouth, all I wish is success. I don't sleep, I don't eat, nothing but stress. And y'all can all beat now, cause I don't want sex. I'm about to smash your sister, cause she a little more calmer and the ass is bigger. For every chicken head, yup, there's a nasty nigga. How you gon' pay me back? Shit, fucking nasty niggas. Shorty changed like 225, switched up, got me losing my mind. Call the cops, tried to ruin my grind. Damn, what's wrong with you? I just want my half, I'm ready for the war with you. That's my daughter too, blood, sweat, tears, whole mix a little water too. Watch it bubble up. I told my daughter she the reason I beat her uncle up. I told them knuckle up. Worry about your own motherfucker, then I touched them up. What the fuck is up?
Change on a nigga. Bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could get. That's why I won't forget. Why you gotta change on a nigga? The bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could give. That's why I won't forget.
Bitch acting crazy like the NBA Navy. Copperfield, you know the deal. She in the kitchen cooking gravy. Grams on the counter, sour all around, and she will bust that gun if the cops all around. And now she running to the pigs, running out the jibs. Quick to go and rap, but she ain't worried about the kids. Why you change? Why you change? Should've stayed the same. Tell your mother, tell your brother, cause they ain't gonna do a thing. Boy, my knuckles prove a thing. You used to bang with me, you used to hang with me. And in out of stores you used to spend change with me. Shit changed quickly, what happened to the promises? Now you in the street wildin' on some drama shit. Put hand on feet on you. I'm a cool dude, don't wanna put the beats on you. And I ain't talking about Dr. Dre. Get my kicks off like back in my soccer days.
Change on a nigga. Bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could get. That's why I won't forget. Why you gotta change on a nigga? The bitch sent the cops to my crib. Had the nerve to tell the bitch where I live. Why you gotta change on a nigga? She even took all I could get. That's why I won't forget.
I can't blame you, this is my fault. Should've never tried to love a whore. We argue all night, wake up, fuss and fight some more. All alone in the crib, it's just you and me. Unspoken words, and truthfully, I'm scared to breathe. It's like we walk on eggshells every other day, patiently waiting to see who's the first to break. Shiver me timbers, why isn't there another option? And why can't I find somebody worth the time stopping? My friends say you ain't shit. Your family compares the man in me to every dude you fuck with. You swear you can get a man filthy rich. I guess that explains why your begging ass is always chasing dick. No gift for your birthday, you burnt that bridge. Name buzzing round the PJs about what you did. A slut you is, and I hate to be so blunt and direct, but you are one pair of Nikes I cannot check.
Change, girl, you change. You change, girl, you change. Change, girl, you change. Change, why you change? Change, girl, you change. Changed, why you change?
now. Put your hands together. Mr. Good Friend.